Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. That means once again we have TNA, which features a lot of good matches before we head to Rebellion. We do have, of course, the TNA Knockouts World Title contract signing between the challenger Steph Delanders and the champion Jordan Grace. And then, of course, we have Moose taking on Trent Seven and various other matches as well. And then we move on with Ring of Honor with some interesting matches that took place and all this and that right after Supercard of Honor. And then, of course, first things first, we have ChocoPro with their much recent event, number 365. This one is, of course, Baliyan Akki and the returning Chie Koishikawa are back. It's been a while, as you know. Baliyan Akki has been doing a tour in the U.S. Chie Koishikawa was out on injury, but it's great that she's back doing her usual self, being too much energy. And then we cap it up with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, and of course some interesting developments that happen in the world of pro wrestling that really need to be addressed upon. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. We also do, of course, the Nagi Sayaka Watch and other various cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be gaining a lot of daily reviews and other cool content as well on this channel. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, let us begin with our very first review, and I believe that's going to be ChocoPro. Alright, our very first review we're starting out is ChocoPro. Now, this just took place recently, this past Wednesday, I believe, and it opened up with Emi Sakura giving the lowdown on the entire matches. So let's begin with our very first one. We have Hajime, who we haven't seen for about a month or two or so. He takes on against Antonio Honda. Now, of course, Honda is one person you don't want to mess with because you know he'll pull some tricks out. He'll try to throw in a bit of the comedy routine in his matches. That's what he was known for. You would think that he would try to use that against anybody, but however, that wasn't the case. But I have to say, Hajime did try to put up a fight against him, but unfortunately, he was outsmarted by Honda when he applied a O'Connor roll bridge onto him, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. So Honda got the W. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Sawadi, Sawadi Kamen and Tiger Jeet Shinjuku taking on Masahiro Takanashi and Emi Sakura. Now, those who don't know, Tiger Jeet Shinjuku is a guy. a monster from the Uma army. I don't know. He does not like the guys from ChocoPro, but as always, he attacks out of nowhere. So basically, that's how the whole match started. I don't think anybody saw that. But however, I was like impressed with the match itself because Sawada, he is a very tough bastard. You don't want to mess with. But unfortunately, Masahiro Takanashi pinned Tiger, and just like that, they just completely won. However, ChocoPro had an unexpected visitor and took out both Emi Sakura and Masahiro Takanashi. And this guy originally just resigned his position with All Japan, and that is none other than Black Mensuri. He was helping Sawadi out. I'm like, what? I'm like thinking, do these two guys know each other? I'm like, I don't even know. I mean, I know Sawadi has wrestled outside of ChocoPro. I just don't know which promotions he's been so far. But he showed up. I have to say that's gonna be one fun match to watch. I mean, I would like to see those two team up. And if I was Emi Sakura and Masa, I think they will be the prime targets of this. But we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have Chie Koishikawa and Sayaka Obihiro teaming up. As you know, Chie has returned after being injured. It's great to see her; she's back. But apparently, she has to face none other than one of the best tag teams in ChocoPro, and that is none other than the Best Bros, Mei Sugar and Baliyan Akki, who just returned from a tour in the U.S. It's great to see them. So I'm sure Mai Sakurai has, Mei Sugar has been very, very happy to see him back because, of course, when it comes to Mei Sugar's doing her little shenanigans, you know, Balinaki tried to tell her, no, you can't do that, but she does it anyway because she doesn't care. She's a little sly devil. That's what she is. But unfortunately, this match was impressive, but it was, of course, a double body press onto Chi by the Best Bros that picked up the win. But it was Mei Sugar who picked up the pinfall, and just like that, it was over. Now, for our Jonkin tournament, well, I can tell you the Best Bros were eliminated, so was Emi Sakura, but the one person who made it all the way through to get a piece of chocolate, and that is none other than Sayaka Obihiro. So I thought it was a real fun event, and I enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens until the next show. No, I do know this weekend we do have another Gatomu show. Challengers, I believe that's what it's called. But hopefully I get to see it soon enough. Excuse me. But yeah, I think that's it. And let's just end it right here with ChocoPro. Move on with TNA. Okay, TNA, as you know, we get closer and closer to the next pay-per-view, Rebellion. It opened up when we saw the brawl between both Josh Alexander and Alex Hammerstone. Now remember, this whole thing started in Hard to Kill, and then when they had the second match between them, Hammerstone decided to be all low when he decided to get away with it by low blowing Josh Alexander. And then, of course, Alexander made it clear he wants this match to happen on his terms in Rebellion. However, things were becoming so chaotic, even security tried to separate them. Tommy Dreamer showed up to try to reason with, of course, Hammerstone. At first, we thought he got through him, but he played possum and attacked Tommy Dreamer. And then, of course, Alexander showed up and told him, let's turn this match into a last man standing, which is going to be very, very interesting. Now, our first match, we have the Digital Media Championship, Laredo Kid versus, of course, Crazy Steve. Now, he was supposed to have this match a while ago, but due to some circumstances, due to his visas, he was unable to do so, so he finally got it. However, this match did not go exactly according to Laredo Kid's way because, as you know, if you are a fan of Lucha Libre, most specifically if you love the masked wrestlers, you know they have when people try to remove their mask is a sign of disrespect. At some point, of course, Laredo Kid just snapped. He refuses to listen to the ref, and this resulted into a disqualification. However, I think Tom Hannafar, or whatever his name is, was right about one thing. What if Crazy Steve did that intentionally in order to ensure he doesn't lose the belt? Well, that looks like it. Now, in the back, we did see Time Machine, Shelly, Sabin, and Kushida apologizing. Well, Shelly mostly, of course, apologizing to Sabin and Kushida after what happened. Of course, Shelly was upset with Kushida for tossing the towel and all that, but they decided they want to move past it. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, our next match, we have the ABC consisting of Chris Bay and Ace Austin versus First Class consisting of Rich Swann and AJ Francis. Now, this whole thing happened when, of course, Swann and AJ intended to recruit Chris Bay into their group. But however, I don't know if Chris Bay thinks this is a right choice for him because, it looks more like he feels like I don't know what he's talking about and all this other stuff. But you would think that this is going to be a very tough match. It did. I mean, don't forget, AJ Francis is a much taller and stronger individual. This match could have won either way with either team, but Swann decided to go low to low and then use the tights onto Ace Austin to pick up the win. However, when the match was over, we just heard, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Yeah, he showed up. And then, of course, he explained about the whole thing with Swann and all that. But what I love about this, Hendry decided to use the theme song to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that opening theme song that was used for a long time. And he called, of course, he called AJ Francis fat ass Uncle Phil. I thought that was hilarious. But Hendry decided that he wants to take on Swann at Rebellion, so that's going to be good. Now, Santino gets a very unusual text message by somebody, and it turned out to be Ash by Elegance and that stooge of hers. Well, I don't know what they call him, but anyway, what happened is they're filing a protest of the Knockouts World Title contract signing. As you know, we were supposed to have Ash Elegance involved in that match in Sacrifice, but she stepped down, and of course, Steph Delanders took over. However, they felt that by default, that contract should be heading to Ash by Elegance, but unfortunately, Santino decided not to play along and just, doesn't work that way with me, but he just walked away. Now, Mustafa Ali, as you know, who has been trying to persuade the TNA officials to say, you cannot allow Jake something to challenge me for the X Division title. There has to be a weight limit restriction. He forgets there is no weight limit restrictions in the X Division. If you guys remember, Santino told him we had a guy like Samoa Joe, a big dude, but the dude can fly. So he said he's not trying to tarnish the past. He's worried about the future. So he tried to get GYV, of course, Grizzled Young Vets to get involved, and of course, Jake Something heard it. But of course, they decided to deal with it. Now, on to the contract signing between Steph Delanders and Jordan Grace. Of course, it's going to happen. But however, of course, Jordan Grace decided to piss off Cardona by calling him a little bitch, which eventually he is. But when things got out of hand, of course, Steph Delanders put Jordan Grace through the table, indicating that this will be the end of her and she'll win the Knockouts World Title. Well, we'll see about that. Jordan Grace doesn't give up that easily. However, the obvious question we now has been seeing, as you know, Masha Slamovich does not have Killer Kelly for another opportunity and rematch for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team titles. However, last week we did see Alicia Edwards trying to persuade her to join her team. And of course, she was just minding her business until Alicia Edwards, along with, of course, her dumb husband, Eddie Edwards, and that moron, Brian Myers, tried to persuade her. But she can't speak English, so she spoke to them in Russian. So they don't know what that means. So they like, should we get a translator? I'm like, of course you need a translator, you goofballs. I mean, you think she's going to speak English? The only person who understood it was Killer Kelly. So, what a bunch of idiots. Well, the only reason this is happening was because Alicia Edwards is desperate to have a title. That is because you look at Moose, you look at her husband and Myers. They all have titles. She wants one. She never held a title. But we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have Trent Seven versus Moose. I thought this match was pretty good. I thought it was very fascinating. But good thing Mike Bailey was there because the system was on the outside of the ring, and of course Trent Seven's leg was like a bit disabled and all that. But however, that wasn't enough to try to hopefully to win against Moose. But Moose used the spear to pick up the win. While Mike Bailey was trying to check up on Trent, he was ganged up on everybody in the system. But thank God the Motor City Machine Guns showed up to save the day because they have some unfinished business towards the system. But we did see a little later, of course, the system crying like little bitches about how this happened. So Santino, well, they kind of complained to Santino saying, "What are you going to do about it? They had no business being there." And it's like, "Oh, you want to put your tag titles next week on online?" No, that's not what we're saying. And of course, Mike Bailey's like, "We don't care if you guys put the belts on the line against the Morrison Machine Guns. We'll take you guys, whoever's on, at Rebellion." So Santino said, "Next week, you two will face, of course, the Morrison Machine Guns, and whoever walks out will face Speedball Mountain." And of course, they are not happy about it. But of course, Bailey and Trent Seven, they don't care, but they got what they want anyway. Now, we have GYV making their presence known to take out Jake Something. Now, you would think this is going to be easy. However, you would have thought so too, but no. Those who remembered or not, Jake Something was part of a tag team with Diener, and he showed up to help them. But he did put James Drake into the void. And then, of course, Mustafa Ali, along with Protester, they're trying to tell the TNA officials there has to be a weight restriction. Jake Something is too big, but that didn't do any good, so he wiped out the Protesters, and just like that. However, it became a numbers game between 3-on-2, so that pretty much is clear. Now, our main event, we have Monsters Ball, Khan, and of course, PCO. This was a much brutal match you wouldn't imagine. I thought it was going to be out of control. It did. There was a lot of plunder, a lot of blood, thumbtacks, whatever. I mean, it was crazy. But it was PCO who applied a PCO salt onto Khan while he's on top of thumbtacks, and just like that, he won the day. So it was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. It was a really interesting one, but I think that's pretty much it. I think I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. But yes, it was pretty good. I liked it. So let's move on to Ring of Honor. Okay, our final review, Ring of Honor. It opened up with singles competition. We have Isaiah Cassidy taking on Action Andretti. I thought this match was a pretty good opener because these two wrestlers are incredible. Now, we normally would associate Cassidy as a tag team specialist, but ever since Quinn was out through injury, he did a pretty fantastic job. However, he's facing a guy who's been well known to be the one to defeat Chris Jericho, and that is an Action Andretti. However, what I did like about this match, and Andretti was well aware that he has the numbers game. Mark Quinn was, of course, on the outside. Everything that Isaiah Cassidy did to stop him, it did not go according to plan. But it was, of course, a split leg moonsault by Andretti to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Shane Taylor Promotions, Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor taking on a bunch of guys named Julian Ward and Kaz Jordan. Now, of course, saying the second team's name, it makes sense that they were going to put, of course, Shane Taylor Promotions to pick up the win. It was Taylor with the package pile driver onto Jordan and picked up the win, just like that. Next match, we have Nyla Rose versus Kat Von Hees. Don't know who she is, but I can tell you this match ended with Nyla Rose picking up the win. Now, I thought she was going to finish her off with the Beast Bomb. No, it was a diving body press, so which was unusual, but it was effective. Next up, we have Cole Carter with no Maria, no Griff Garrison. He takes on the fallen angel, Christopher Daniels. I thought this match was pretty good. Now, you would have assumed because of Cole Carter's involvement with Maria, he would have done every trick possible to pick up the win. No, he did not use any of that, which was strange, but he took on the very best in the world, of course, Christopher Daniels, who we have seen what he can do in the ring, but it was the Angel's wings that put him away for good, and just like that, it was over. Next up, we have those psychotic nutheads, the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch, taking on Bryce Donovan and Chico Adams. I don't know much about these guys, but I can tell you this match ended with the Righteous pick up the win when they applied the Autumn and Sunshine onto Donovan. I think it was Donovan? Yeah, onto Donovan, and just like that, Vince pick up the win like that. Next up, we got the Queen Slayer, Anna Jay, taking on LMK. I'm sure this is a very way to get herself back on track after losing to Mariah May this past Wednesday. And she kind of did, instead of using the Queen Slayer submission, she used the Goy Bomb, which is, of course, very, very effective. Excuse me. Our next match, we have Zach Knight taking on Alvin Alvarez. You probably guessed this match was going to fall favorite into Zach. He applied the Falcon Arrow. I thought it was a pretty good match. Now, our next match, we have a proving ground match for the ROH World Television title. We have Kyle Fletcher. He defended against, he faces off against a former ROH World Television champion, and that is Red Titus, who we haven't seen for quite some time. But you know that, of course, Kyle Fletcher was going to use his killer instincts in order to pick up the win, and that's exactly what he has done. So it was completely over from there on. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, well, he did use a spike power drive. My bad, is my notes. Yeah. So basically, Fletcher won it. No opportunity for Red Titus from there. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with some news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with updates with the promotions. First things first, we have a big load coming from, of course, GCW. So this is how it's going to happen. Now, on April 20th for their How High show, it's been told that Jordan Oliver will be in action taking on the bad child Leo Rush. That's going to be one hell of a match. And then, of course, we have for the Breaking GCW on the 21st, and I think this one is in Albuquerque, Joey Janela will face Fuego del Sol, the master of the Tornado DDT. Then, of course, later next month on May 3rd, Rather You Than Me, Billy Starks will be in action to take on Trish Adora. Then, of course, we have Gringo Locos World on Lucha on Cinco de Mayo. Gringo Loco, the host of the show, will take on that scumbag Matt Cardona. Yeah, so we'll see about that. Hopefully, Gringo Loco takes him out. Then, of course, on that very same month of May, we have Take a Picture that will take place on the 25th of May. Gringo Loco will be in action again, and this time he takes on Dralistico. That's right, Rush and Dragon Lee's brother. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, they announced it on June 28th. GCW makes the return to Houston, Texas. No name of the show has been announced just yet or any wrestlers, but I will stay on top of this once any new information comes out. Now, for our New Japan stuff, as you know, this coming Sunday, they will be in Taiwan, more specifically in Taipei for the Wrestling World, and it will take place on the 14th of April. The IWGP Tag Team titles will be defended. Bishamon making their first defense after regaining these belts. They take on the members of just 5 guys, consisting of Yuya Uemura and Sanada. So that's going to be one heck of a match. And then, of course, they announced for a brand new show that will happen at Tokyo Budokan on the 5th of July. It's going to call New Japan Soul. Not much information has been established who's going to be involved. I'm sure we'll be building up when we get there. Now, as you know, as we speak, we do have Stardom taking place. They announced for Scott Edwards has announced for the card for this coming Saturday. Let me pull that up for all of you. This is the card that they have. We have Tam Nakano. She teams up with Natsupoi. They take on Hanan and Saya Ida. Suzuki teams up with Mei Sita and Saya Kamitani. And Miyu Miyake taking on Mayu Iwatani, Azuki, Momokogo, and Koguma. Then we have the members of EXV. As you know, Mina and Hanako will not be present. They're going to be out for a while. Of course, Maika, Zena, and Waka will take on Oiro Tais, Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and of course, Ruaka. Then, of course, Godzai will be in action, taking on Suri, Amisuri, and Saki, taking on the trio of Yuna Mizumori, Sayaka Kurara, and Aya Sakura. Then, of course, we have Fukigen Death versus Rian, and Lady C taking on Rana Yagami. So that's pretty much it for that, as you know. But Azumi, Starlight Kid, Hanako and Mina will be overseas throughout this entire time. We do know that Mina and Azumi will be, of course, participating in the New Japan event for the Windy City. But as for Hanako and Starlight Kid, they'll be making their way to Taiwan for the Stardom World Wrestling World. So that's pretty much what we do know of that. Now, RevPro continues on with their Epic Counter event that takes place on the 20th of April. We have Sekiya Yoshioka versus Cameron Kai. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. And then, of course, we have Azteca Lucha by MLW on May 11th. They announced for the match between Místico, who will be presented by Cesar Duran, versus Barbaro Cabanero, represented by Selena De La Renta. Then the House of Glory event for the Boston show on the 25th, they announced that Mike Santana will be present. Now, the Forbidden Door has been announced that it's returning, but it will happen on June 30th at the UBS Arena in Long Island. Now, there was talks about doing this in Arthur Ashe, but apparently New Japan wasn't going to pay half the cost of that. It's understandable, but we'll see where that leads us from here on out. And I think that's pretty much it for our promotion. So let's talk about some interesting developments. As you know, this past weekend, we had Giulia making her way. Now, as you know, when they presented her at Stand and Deliver, she could not see herself in the Titantron. Basically, they had to inform her, but this is what she had to say. It's such a waste. I don't want to do it. I want to do it all over again. So she didn't get a chance to do that. I think they did not inform her that they were going to tell her. I think that's a bad, well, not a big problem, but I feel like that's a minor problem that they should have informed her. I mean, it would be great to see yourself, but yeah. Now, those who remember what happened this past Wednesday, Will Ospreay put out a promo about the grind. As you know, Triple H said some remarks about Will Ospreay. Well, he didn't say his name, but of course, we know that Triple H was not happy the fact that 3 talent that he felt that could have just gone into WWE are there now at AEW. So Will Ospreay, they're saying that this was in fact part that happened. Of course, Tony Khan allowed it to happen. So that was the whole thing. So I don't know if there's going to be any backlash over this, but yeah. Now, a very interesting thing that was reported by C-Scoops. Hook will be a free agent later on this year. So basically, he will no longer be with the company. However, it was later reported that WWE have an interest in him. So that's kind of interesting. So we will see what happens on here on out. Now, finally, Bray Wyatt's wife, his widow, JoJo, she later revealed that she was asked by Samantha Irvin if she can be her bridesmaid. If you guys know this, Samantha Irvin is engaged with Ricochet, and of course, JoJo accepted, of course, her to be Samantha Irvin's bridesmaid. So it's pretty cool. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Okay, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. I haven't decided yet if I was going to do any other events, but as I said earlier, as we speak, we do have Stardom's much recent show in Korakuen Hall. This one features Utami Ayashida's and Julia's last final matches in Stardom. This is the last time we get to see them. We do have, of course, the match for the Cosmic Angels, where we'll see if Aya Sakura and, of course, Sayaka Kurata will pass to be full-blown members of Cosmic Angels. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what happens after that. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is and move on forward. So I will say this. I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.